I'm going to introduce David Coundon, who's the director at Space Architects. He has led the process of the redesign, the redevelopment, the restoration of the whole project alongside his team at Space, and provided some real inspiration there. So I'm going to hand over to David, and he's going to give you a run through what some of the CGI images look like and what you're going to experience when you visit the site with your families in 24 and beyond. So, David Coundon.
Thank you, everybody. I'm here representing Space Architects, but it's a much bigger team. We've got Wilmot Dixon, we've got BGP, we've got PLB, we've got Capco. So I'm just the spokesman here, and I could talk about this scheme for about 2 hours, but Mike suggested 10 to 15 minutes, so don't be surprised if you see a bit of this towards the end of what I'm saying. So it will just be, I'm loud enough without a microphone, a high-level overview. What's it all about? Well, the council has hinted at this, that in 1825, there was a train journey on the Stockton and Darlington Railway, 26 miles, but it wasn't the first passenger railway journey in the northeast. It wasn't even the first passenger railway journey in England or the UK. It was the first passenger railway journey in the world. And I think the council has talked about innovation. People forget that. People in the region don't know that we were first in the world. And in 2025, it'll be 200 years since that journey took place, and it's a cause for celebration. What is the Railway Heritage Quarter? Is it a destination tourist attraction? Is it a heritage attraction? Is it an urban regeneration scheme? Is it a museum? Is it placemaking? Is it a community initiative? Well, the answer is, it's all of those things, but I think it's more than that. It's about celebrating the heritage, but also creating a family fun destination that will bring people to understand and learn and enjoy what that's all about. So from the youngest baby to a 100-year-old, this is the place to come to be entertained and informed. I'm not going to labour this point, there's just a couple of key ones. It is a game changer for the local community. It will be a legacy and catalyst to regenerate the area. Nowhere else can claim this collection of historic real assets. You can see I'm reading alternative ones here. It's where the past meets the future, and it really is a celebration of Darlington's heritage. The other thing we've got is not just the history. You say why here, but even the site as it stands has all of the assets. It's the best collection of surviving railway buildings from that period, again, in the country. You've got Skern Bridge, which is a scheduled monument. You've got the railway viaduct over North Road, which is Grade 1 listed. You've got the goods shed, which is Grade 2 star listed. You've got the museum itself, or the station, which is Grade 2 star listed. You've got the carriage works, which we're standing in, which is Grade 2 listed. You've got 1 and 2 Moseley McNair Street, which is the old goods office, which is Grade 1 listed. You've got the Limestells, which is Grade 2 listed. And then you've got the former kitchen foundry works. And then up right in this corner, you've got the 1861, which isn't listed, and it's not even in the conservation area, but it's part of that set of buildings, all from that period between 1815 to about 1850, when the whole rail infrastructure was put in place. But what's the Heritage Quarter going to be? Now, I'm going to point quickly around the map, just to give everyone the bearings. I'll talk to it and then I'll point to it. We've got the A167 down there, we've got Hope Down Lane there, we've got Bonamy Way there, and that's north. And this is a whole scheme that's being redeveloped as a holistic approach. But I'm going to take you on a guided trip through the site, starting at the goods shed, which is give you a bearing: Skern Bridge, Skern River, goods shed, head of steam, museum as it stands in North Road Station, carriage works, brand new building which you'll see on site on Bonamy Way, the live engineering works for the A1 Steam Locomotive Trust, and the converter, the 1861 building. But in addition to that, brand new private railway signs which will be part of the museum, events field, play area, and themed interpretation throughout the site. Now I'm going to do a little guided tour of this. You don't have to do everything on this guided tour. You don't even have to go around all the buildings. You can do it in multiple visits. You can pick and choose. But all visits start with the goods shed. And that's this building here, which everyone should be familiar with, because now, once again, because the council have cleared the trees, you can actually see it again. Now the goods shed is going to be the start and finish of every journey to the Heritage Quarter. It's an information point. It's a place you can go to find out about events and book for events. It's a shop that will sell railway themed and local themed and general themed goods. It's also a cafe, so the idea is people just walking down the street can pop in for a drink. It's free to go in. People going to the station might just pop in for a drink and to find out about what's going on in the Heritage Quarter. But also it starts to tell that story. It starts to introduce the ideas of the museum, about Darlington's innovation in the past, about the introduction of railway time, and you can even meet one or two of the locomotives as ghosts that come in and out of the building, such as locomotion number 1. So that's a view inside as you come in the door, and the information points in front of you there, but you can see how the shops behind it leads into exhibition areas. And that's an example. This is called a hologaze screen, which Jamie and his team are helping to develop. And the idea is different locomotives will appear there and a blast of steam and noise. It's a 3D virtual reality. So it's entertaining and informing at the same time, but it's only one of many exhibits. And then that's an idea of the overview of the cafe. And you see there's great care to leave a lot of the original fabric exposed, but to put new objects gently within it so everyone can see the original railway structure within. Moving out from the goods shed on your left, which is the start point, as I say, you could go in any order, but we've come immediately into the goods shed yard. Now the interpretation idea continues there with informative and entertaining and fun activities. I'll tell you a little bit more about them later, but then you move around the Head of Steam. Now the Head of Steam has been in a museum for a long time. It's gone through several revamps, but as part of this project, as well as, I suppose, repairing and refurbishing the building to its best, the complete interior is redone to better tell the stories and to become more interactive, more fun, with both virtual, digital and physical activities that can engage people, both young and old. So this is a shot of the interior, just gives a general overview. We can't do justice to all of the different exhibitions that Jamie and his team have put in, but I'll just do a couple of the headline ones. So there'll be a chance to meet key people from the history of the railways. There'll be a chance to see yourself through magic mirrors, which use digital technology, so you'll be able to see yourself on a Victorian platform surrounded by Victorian people. You'll be able to get information from ghosts within, for example, the old W.H. Smith's box, and there'll also be themes about innovation and food and history, but also you'll still have the actual locomotives, which have always formed the core of the display. Another feature which is part of this museum is what we call the black box experience, and that'll be a full virtual reality experience, not only fully surrounded by a 3D immersive environment with sounds and images, but physically you will move in a carriage, and the theme of those exhibitions will be able to change over time. Coming out of that building, the Head of Steam building, we've come into this building, the carriage works, but we haven't come in the side entrance as you have to do now. We've come right through where the carriages themselves used to come through, which is currently blocked up, and we've opened it up with glass-formed reception area. And effectively this building does two things. It becomes a temporary exhibition area in this side, and they may be railway themed, but they can be completely independent things, play-based exhibitions, some paid, some free, art, etc. And this also forms a function room for conferences, weddings, etc. The other wing will be a reading room to allow access to the archive for young and old alike, because there's a great collection of objects that just can't be, objects and manuscripts that just can't be displayed. Again, a couple of views of that. That's a temporary exhibition in this side. Again, you'll see a lot of the original fabric is being maintained, but repaired and made its best. And there's an image on the other side in the reading area next to the archive. Coming back out, we've got across the field, I'll talk about the field later, to a new bridge. The new bridge links across the actual railway line to a new building on the other side, which you've probably seen being built on Bonham Way, and that's the Live Engineering Works. That is a new base for the A1 Steam Locomotive Trust, believed to be the only people who have built from scratch a mainline steam locomotive in the world, and those guys are here today. You've probably seen Tornado in Paddington 2 and on Top Gear. It's that famous train we're talking about, and they're currently building the Prince of Wales. The bridge itself forms a viewing gallery for events on the main line and on the private tracks, which will be just to the north of the main line, but also it takes the general public into a viewing gallery that's glazed and overlooks completely the Live Engineering Works, so you'll actually be able to see the guys working on these glorious machines and see how it happens. At set times and on set dates, you'll be able to go down on a tour and actually get right up close to the engines being worked on as well. So that's a view of the bridge linking from the head of steam across to the building, which you'll see on site now. Moving from the A1 Steam Locomotive Trust, there's tracks which will sometimes have stationary vehicle trains on them, sometimes have moving trains on them, and that will lead up to the converted 1861 building. And Darlington Railway Preservation Trust is going in there with their collection. Now, they have a museum now, or had one until very recently in the goods shed, but everyone would admit, whilst they've done a great job of keeping all these trains, they're quite hard to see in the cramped conditions. This building will allow them to display them fully, and again, it'll be set times and set dates where you'll be able to go in and see all these treasures that have been saved, some of them from destruction by the Preservation Trust. Final building, the Lime Cells, which has been a ruin on Hopetown Lane, is actually a listed building, and that'll be converted into a small community office, but it'll also provide a facility for functions and lectures for small numbers of people, and it'll be made, again, it's in danger of falling down at the moment. It'll be fully repaired and made to modern standards. Now, I'm conscious of time. We're coming back into the master plan, so you've seen how all those bits to fit together. What I haven't talked about really is the spaces in between. So the whole area is fully landscaped, hard and soft landscaped, and it's fully populated with things to inform, educate, entertain, and inspire, basically, and I'll come on to that. So that's really interpretation by the PLB team. There's art by a famous artist, Andrew McCown, and then there is fun in the form of play areas in interactive interpretation exhibitions. We also have the site of the former kitchen foundry, which is of historic importance, but then a massive field which can be used for events like car rallies and so on and so forth. And just to touch on each of those, this is just a map showing how the interpretation tells a story and links the whole site together. So even if you chose to visit the site and not visit a building, you still would learn a lot if you wanted to or not. To give you an example of the interpretation installations, these are all by PLB. Some of them are there to orientate and inform in a sort of traditional way, but some of them are there, I don't know how well you can see this, to entertain and inform. So this is part of the timeline, and this is like an interactive railway track where kids can jump on and lights will go off and sounds will go off, and even safe steam in the form of mist will billow out. So you're playing but learning at the same time. In terms of play, there's a whole dedicated play area. I don't want to tell you how much the council is spending on this play area, but it's a lot of money, and this has been developed with Capco and the rest of the team, and it's a fully railway themed interactive play area with a lot of thought of it. We could spend an hour talking about that in itself. but just to give you a taste of the sort of installation that's going in, railway themed goods, bridges, trains, etc., etc. A full play area there. And then the artist's contribution is, and again, there's a lot more to this, and I'm giving you these just highlights. Taking things that have significance in railway, like if anyone knows railway ticket nippers, each different railway line had different holes that they would punch out of your ticket to say you'd paid and you had right. He's turned them into themed sculptures made out of corded steel, and they will be dotted through the landscape to tell the story. And that's a small intervention by the artist, Andrew. But at the other scale, there's a massive one which we'll put right at the heart of the circulation, and it's a symbolic and aspirational turntable that not only tells you that the carriage works is over there and the head of steam's over there and the A1 SLT are over there and the goods shed's over there, it also has inspirational words and events from Darwin's past. So you'll be glad to hear that hopefully I've shown you all the bits in a whirlwind tour, and then you can look back at that aerial view and see how it all comes together and feeds back to where we started at the goods shed. Thank you very much.